But going back to what you said about student debt and, not everybody needing to go to college, it reminded me of coming out of high school and going to university. And I remember working and trying to scrounge together money as I was making my way through university. And meanwhile, everybody that I knew that had gone to like vocational school and had gone to learn a trade like you were talking about, the ASC certified mechanics and the HVAC specialists, they were all opening up their own shops and all like doing very well right out of high school. And it took years, 10, 15 years probably for me to get to a point where after getting my degree, I had worked enough to catch up to where these guys were in terms of the money that they were making. And of course, as you said, you had time on your side, right? Because you started grinding as soon as you got out of high school.
Yeah. Well, I joined the Navy, so it's there's a lot of benefits to that.
So do you think that there is an ethos now that, everybody kind of feels as though they're entitled and have to go to college as soon as they come out of high school, that there's really, that's it. Everybody's kind of on this track. And with the politicians talking about free college for everybody and kind of forcing everybody to go to college by virtue of other people paying for it, do you think that is pushing us in a direction we shouldn't be going in?
I definitely think it's a direction we shouldn't be going in. I called it educational inflation because I think it's just inflated more and more since I was a kid. And, when I was a kid, there was people that just, they went to technical high schools. First of all, there's people that didn't even finish high school. And then there was people that went to technical high schools and they learned a trade, and that was fine. And no one looked down on them for being an electrician or being a plumber. And then, once I graduated high school, I joined the military. So that was another path to go on, which I would say at that time wasn't exactly viewed with high regard, enlisting in the military. The path was, hey, go to college, and that's sort of a pathway to a better life is what people thought. But then I think that attitude grew more and more over time. And then it was, hey, not just go to college, not just get a 2-year degree, but get a 4-year degree, and then not just get a 4-year degree, but get a master's degree, and then not just get a master's degree, but get a PhD, and then not just get a PhD, but get a PhD from some school with a great reputation that costs a ton of money. And this educational inflation over time has put us into a situation where everyone thinks they need to go to college, when the fact of the matter is, like I said, I work with companies all over the country. They don't need a bunch of people that have been to some Ivy League college. They need people that work hard, that are smart, that can figure things out, that can learn, that can lead. That's what companies need. So yeah, I think we've definitely gotten to a point where this whole educational idea is become much more expected of people, and I don't think it's necessary.
Do you think the people that are burdened with this student debt now, do you think they've been, the nation has kind of done them dirty and that they deserve some relief as it comes to this huge debt burden that people are now carrying out of college? Do you feel like the right way to right the ship here is to offer relief to those that have taken out debt and offer them or maybe even just offer them tools to help repay the debt that they've taken out? Or you may think canceling the debt is a good idea. What do you think is right for that situation? Or do you feel as though, hey, you've taken out this debt, it's your responsibility, and that's a wrap?
That certainly seems like the easy answer. Hey, this is your responsibility, that's a wrap. Then that's kind of what it is. I definitely don't think the taxpayers should pay for it, because I don't think that's even remotely close to something that should happen. If I was going to stick the bill with anyone, it would be with the universities themselves. It's if you're going to let people come if you're going to let them come to your school, then maybe you should either figure out how to confirm that they're going to be able to pay for it. That might be an idea, but I look at it pretty straightforward. If you owe money, you pay it back.
The wild thing, Jocko, is that because the federal government has taken over student loans, and because they want to make student loans widely accessible because of this altruistic notion that, hey, everybody has to go to college, what has happened is that the government is actually bearing the burden of the loans. The universities are getting paid. And in fact, we talk a lot about free market capitalism on this show, and one of the big detriments that we talk about in the world of higher education is because the government is so eager to subsidize people to go to college, the colleges have less incentive to compete with one another. They have less incentive to lower their prices. They have less incentive to make the staff per student ratio lower. It becomes a cash grab for the universities, unfortunately. So they're getting paid one way or the other already, which is part of the problem.
Well, that's definitely part of the problem. That's another good argument for the free market, because if the government wasn't subsidizing them, right, these situations wouldn't escalate so much because people would have to actually pay for them.